Hi, welcome to the first DXB Pump and Power troubleshooting video. We're putting together a number of these small videos to assist you in the field, and this particular video is identifying why we're not getting power to the engine for it to be able to even start. The first problem that we need to identify is whether or not the battery isolation switch is in the on position. When the battery isolation switch is in the off position, we still get power to our control panel, but we've isolated power getting to the engine, which means that it won't start. The second, Jesus, I can't remember any of these things, I'm going nuts. Let me move this over so I can see it slightly better.
Yeah, I'm not actually here, so now I know what you're doing.
Okay, that's a bit better.
So go back to the start.
Okay. Welcome to the...
Hold on 2 seconds.
I'm getting tired, I think. All right. Okay.
Hold on.
So when?
Give it 3 seconds. Okay.
Welcome to the DXB Pump and Power troubleshooting videos. This first video that we've put together is about identifying why the engine is not getting any power to it to be able to start. The most common reason for the engines not starting on our pump sets is that the operator has forgotten to change the battery isolation switch from the off position to the on position, and this isolates the engine from the batteries. We will be able to get power to the control panel, but there is no power then going to the engine, and that is due, generally speaking, because the isolation switch is off. The second possible problem for the engine not starting is the fact that the battery is flat. We try to overcome this by fitting solar panels to our very own pump sets in our rental fleet. But in the case that this hasn't been purchased with your pump set and the battery has gone flat, then the battery will require charging in order to crank the engine. The third is the possible looseness of battery connection cables to the terminals of the battery, and although it's part of the mandatory daily, what was it? Mandatory daily checks. Okay, right, ready? And just slow down. Welcome to the DXB Pump and Power troubleshooting videos. This first video is being put together to identify the reasons why the engine won't start. The first possible problem that we know of, and it's quite a common problem, is that people forget to change the battery isolation switch from the off to the on position. And whilst the control panel can be fired up with the battery isolator in the off position, we're not getting any power to the engine. The remedy for that is obviously switch the battery isolation switch to on and go through the startup procedure once again. In the event that you move the battery isolation switch to the on position and you still have problems starting, it might well be because the battery has become flat. We try to overcome this in our rental fleet by fitting a heavy-duty solar panel to the tops of our canopy units, and this trickle charges our batteries. However, if you've purchased a DXB pump without the optional solar panel, you might find that your battery has gone flat and there is insufficient power to get the engine started. The remedy for this is to take your battery off, take it back to the workshop and charge it up, refit it, and then go through the startup procedure once again. The next possible problem is that the battery cables connections to the terminals of the battery have become loose. The remedy to that is, as part of your daily checks, is to make sure that they're tight, and if they're found loose, tighten them up and go back to your startup procedure, and hopefully the pump will get away. Finally, and slightly more technical, is the fact that we may have blown a fuse in the control panel. Find yourself a service technician that is able to come in here and check the electricals and the fuses in your control panel. And if there is a blown fuse, firstly change the fuse and then try the startup procedure. And if the fuse blows again, then identify the problem that might be causing the fuses to blow, remedy the problem, change the fuse and go back to your startup procedure. I hope this information gives you an idea of how to troubleshoot your pump in the very first stages of getting some power to the engine. Thanks very much for listening.